So what I'm going to do is share my screen and show you all what you are going to experience as you are applying for housing. Just give me 1 second to get there. And of course, in the time that it took to do the tour, I'm going to need to log back in everywhere.
Quite all right. If you have questions about the housing and dining agreement, you can put those in the chat, and myself and Hunter will be moderating the chat for Cece so that she can walk you through some of the specific questions that you guys have had. I had a quick question in here. Can you bring a Keurig?
Keurigs are allowed.
Keurigs are allowed, yes. Well, let's see, what else did we potentially miss? Ronald asked a great question about what items students should bring and what should they leave at home. I believe Residence Life has a list of that available to you, and they will be providing it typically after orientation to students. It's also on their website, and they update it each year with any new regulations and rules for what you can and cannot bring. I don't think we've ever had this question. Can you bring an air fryer?
You cannot.
Hunter?
Unfortunately, air fryers are not allowed either.
Okay, no air fryers, guys. Sorry, but you can bake your fries in the ovens in the common space in the kitchens.
Yes.
Lindsay Lindquist, you are able to decorate your walls. We do not allow tapestries, but you can certainly put up pictures. The standing rule with the state fire marshal is no more than 10% of the wall should be covered with wall hangings. So just kind of keep that in mind.
Yes, Maxwell, you can bring standing fans. All of our buildings, and correct me if I'm wrong, have AC in them now, right? And so you will have air conditioning, whether it's central AC or window unit is building dependent. But you should bring a fan in or are encouraged to do so. It helps circulate the air.
Absolutely. Okay, so we are now in the housing portal. This is where you will go to apply for on-campus housing. And so when you log into the housing portal, you will use your UMW login, the same login that you use for your email and for Canvas and etc. You'll want to go to the on-campus housing and dining application. Here you will see any past years that you've applied for housing, but we will be in the 2021-2022 housing application. I am a little bit through it, so I'm going to go back to the main page where you would start out. So we are on the Your Info page. When you start here, this is going to come pre-populated with some of the information that you've already provided to the university. So you can see my formal name, my UMW banner ID, starting with 3 zeros, my birthday, the gender that they have on file for me right now, my email, cell phone. It's going to ask you for your emergency contact and an alternative contact. That's pretty straightforward. This next page is going to ask you for some additional information. And so if you use a name or you have a name that you would prefer that you didn't see on that first page, put your name in here. Even if you don't have a different name, just let us know what you would like to be called. We're going to use the name that you put here to address you as we're sending you communication via email throughout the year. The next page of the application is our accommodations page. And so we are committed to providing housing accommodations for students so that they can successfully live on campus. The way that a student will go about requesting a housing accommodation is through the Office of Disability Resources. And so if you have already chatted with ODR, that's what we call the Office of Disability Resources. If you've already chatted with them and you have been approved for a housing accommodation, feel free to give us that info here. If you have not discussed with ODR yet, that's totally fine. There is a link on this page that you can click and go to, and that will provide you all the information that you need about requesting a housing accommodation. I know that some people have questions about emotional support animals. The Office of Disability Resources is also who you would go through if you have any questions or would like to request permission to bring an emotional support animal. ODR will also review your request and then we'll send you a decision. If you are approved, or really whatever your decision is, ODR will communicate that with our office, and then you are welcome to reach out back to us, or we will reach out to you to make sure that your assignment meets your accommodation. Hunter, anything to add there? Okay. Our next page of the application will show you a few different options. So if you find yourself interested in living in an LGBTQ learning community or in an all-female community, indicate that interest here, and we will be reaching out to you later on regarding the interest that you've indicated within your application. But these are some great options. Just indicate your interest, and again, we'll be reaching out to you in the future.
Cece, I want to jump in real quick.
Sure.
So it's important to know that if you elect to live in an LGBTQ plus community or in the all-female community, that community placement will trump your roommate matching. So if you've chosen to live with somebody that you know, and you elected to live in an all-female community, but your roommate has not, you're going to be placed in that all-female community without your roommate. So if that's something that you're interested in, please make sure you have that conversation with your roommate if that's somebody who you'd like to bring with you. And just need to make sure everybody is aware that the spaces are relatively limited, but we do encourage students to explore those if they want to.
And I'd also add on to Hunter's too, that if you want to live in an LGBTQ community or the all-female community, this also trumps your FSEM building placement. So for your first year seminar course, you're assigned to a very specific building. If you elect for one of these communities will trump that building assignment. So you won't be housed in the same building as the other students in your first year seminar course.
Great point. Great points. Thank you. Going off of Sarah mentioning the FSEM, the first year seminar course. Your first year seminar course is going to determine, outside of these two communities, which residence hall you are placed in. And so now we are going to get into talking about roommates, which I know is what everyone has been waiting for.
And I just want to jump in real quick again with FSEMs. We really do encourage you to select the FSEM that you are most interested in. That FSEM is a great connection to your first year experience, and all of our first year students really enjoy it. And so please select the FSEM that you're interested in. Don't go looking for which FSEMs are in the building that you want to live in, and then select one of those FSEMs. So if something's speaking to you, please select that FSEM.
Absolutely. Yeah, there are plenty of options, like so many options. You should definitely try for something that you're interested in, something that you'll want to wake up to go to class for, you know? And the great thing about it is that they don't have to necessarily match your track of study that you're planning to go into, except for nursing, I guess. All right, so are all the other halls co-ed? So yes, our first year halls are co-ed. If you are interested in an all-female community, that is an option that we have on campus, but we will be reaching out to you based on the interest that we receive, and we'll go from there. Men and women are on the same floor of our communities. Although with a hall style restrooms are not shared by different genders. So there's going to be a male bathroom on the floor, and there's also going to be a female bathroom on the floor. Generally, even in our hall style halls, we do have at least one like private public bathroom, generally on the main floor for students to use if they have, if they want to.
And then Russell Hall is our only one that actually has pods. So all of our other first year buildings is going to be mixed. So you might have a neighbor that is male and another neighbor that's female on the other side of you. But in Russell, it's going to be an all female pod or an all male pod. And that's going to correspond with the bathroom in that pod. And Russell's the only first year building that's like that.
Right. So it's hall style. And then within each hall, there's like sections of the floor that are blocked from each other via doorways.
We're getting questions about suites and people being in an all male or all female suite, or are they mixed gendered? And same thing with roommates.
Sure, great question. So suites, once again, are 2 double rooms joined by a bathroom in the middle. These suites we consider one unit, and the unit will be all female or all male. The mattress is the standard twin XL length. We are going to go into our roommate matching questionnaire next. I'm going to take it from the top on this page, and then we'll be able to discuss how this questionnaire is going to be used. So the first option that you'll see on this page is a screen name. And that you can see here that it says your screen name for the roommate search tool. For privacy reasons, before you've actually selected a roommate, you are going to have a screen name. This is what other students will see in the housing portal as they are looking for you or searching for a roommate. So they won't see any other name but what you put here. You can make it whatever you want. You can see here that I've made mine my net ID. Sometimes students will make it just their full name, CC Burkett, dog lover. If you don't want someone to know your name, the options are really endless. Please keep it clean. But that is what students will see as they're searching for you. So keep that in mind. The roommate matching questionnaire is a whole host of questions about your living style and preferences generally. So we see smoking preferences, sleeping habits, how do you like to use your room space, study habits, etc. We will use these questions. If you do not select a roommate that you would like to live with, we will use these questions to pair you with another roommate that is in your same first year residence hall. The system looks at these questions and will select another roommate for you, and then we will assign you together. This is what is known as the random roommate process. The other ways that you can find a roommate are to use these wonderful tools on the next page of our housing application. So this was the roommate matching questionnaire. The next page is where you'll actually create your roommate group. There's a bunch of information on this page about roommates. The way that you can search for people is going to be down here in the bottom corner. There are 3 different options for ways that you can use the portal to search for roommates. The first way is going to be to search for roommates by details. If you have a specific person that you know you want to room with already, you know their name, you can go into this page. You can search using their actual name or their screen name. That's what this name web field is. To search for them, they will come up here and you'll be able to create a roommate group together.
If you are in the same FSIM building.
If you are in the same FSIM building, correct. A caveat, the most important caveat I would say that I just didn't mention at all. So when you're using these roommate search tools in the portal, please note that you will be able to see and chat with, reach out to other students that are in your same first year hall, the hall that you are assigned to by your FSIM. So if you receive an FSIM, your FSIM is designated to Willard Hall. you are going to be able to search for and message other students that are assigned to Willard Hall. You are not going to be able to search for and message anyone assigned to a hall that's not Willard. So keep that in mind. Sometimes we have roommates, for example, if you're in the nursing program and you have a very specific hall that your FSM is designated to, sometimes you'll have met someone that's designated to a different hall that you want to be with. You will not be able to search for it and find them within the portal. If you have any specific questions regarding a roommate that might be in a different hall than you, just reach out to our office and we will see what we can do. It's not always feasible to get you guys together, but for the vast majority of folks, we will work with you and be able to pair you with your preferred roommate.
And I just want to jump in one more time with that. So if you are, you're dead set and you want to live in Mason and you've got an FSM that's in Mason and you want a roommate that has an FSM in Russell Hall, there's no guarantee that that roommate from Russell Hall would be placed in Mason and that you wouldn't be placed in Russell. So it's all about how the computer works out the allocations when we do this. And so if you have a selected roommate that's not in the same FSM building that you are, by contacting our office, we can't guarantee which building you'll end up in. You'll be in one of the two, yours or theirs, but we just can't guarantee which one that's going to be up front.
Great point. So just an early message, trying to help manage some expectations with assignments that will come out later on in the summer. All right, so let's get back to searching for your roommate that is assigned to your same first-year residence hall. You can search for a specific person with their name information. You can also, if you don't have a specific person in mind, search for roommates by profiles, which is a really neat option. And so what this roommate search by profiles gives you the opportunity to do is select things that you feel very strongly about in a roommate. So I really want someone who goes to bed early because I go to bed early, for example. I'm going to select that question, select the answer that I'm looking for, and then I'm going to search, and the portal will suggest to me, I'm not going to show you all those, but the portal will suggest to me, for example, like students that may have answered in a similar way. And so this is just an example of what you will see in the housing portal and how your profile will come up to other students who are searching for roommates in the portal. And so we can see here, you'll see students that are classified as freshmen, but you can, if you have a group going already, invite to group or send them a message in the portal. The last way, if you don't have any specifics that you're looking for, you can go to the Suggest Roommates page. This is just going to give you a whole host of options that instead of looking at a specific question from your roommate matching questionnaire, it's going to look at the whole thing. It's going to look at your whole roommate matching questionnaire, look at someone else's whole questionnaire, and then try and suggest students here. And so once again, you will be able to reach out to students before creating a roommate group with them to try and determine if you think you're going to be a good pair. There's nothing set in stone at that point if you just reach out to chat with someone, and we definitely encourage students to reach out to other folks before joining a group with them, just to see what your options are. Gonna go back to the main roommates page now. If we send a message in the portal, where do those messages go? Great question. So I'm going to, if you click on these 3 horizontal lines, these are your key to all options portal related. You can click on messages here and it'll bring you to a messaging page. And so this is a lot of portal messages. You'll get messages from the portal like when you start your application, when you complete it. If you join a roommate group, the portal will send you a message that says, hi, you created a roommate group, congrats. But you'll also see messages on this page that other students send you, and you'll be able to respond to them here. You will also receive them in your email, in your UMW email. So keep that in mind. Make sure over the next few months that you're checking your email relatively regularly. I'm sure admissions is telling you all that as well. But there's going to be a lot of important info coming out, and you don't want to miss any message from a potential roommate, for example. Great question, though. I'm going to jump back into the application. So you're going to get a chance to see once again what it looks like as you're going into the application if you didn't catch that earlier. Click on-campus housing and dining application. I'm going to continue in 21-22. Now we are on the freshman contract page. Your application will not be complete until you have signed this contract page with your student ID that begins with 3 zeros. While we're on this contract page, I will mention that at UMW, we do have a 2-year on-campus living requirement. So new students that are coming into the university for the first time, when you sign this agreement, you are saying that you understand that UMW has this 2-year on-campus living requirement, and you are agreeing to live on campus for your first 2 years. Living on campus is a huge part of the success of so many of our Eagles, and we see that retention rates go up. We see that engagement goes up. We see that the feelings of connectedness go up when students live on campus. So it's a great option. Obviously, we're Residence Life, so we're biased, but we encourage everyone to remain on campus even after their first 2 years. If you are not yet 18, after you submit this contract page, you'll be taken to a proxy contract page. Your guardian or parent will be sent a notification to sign this contract. Once again, that's for students who are not yet 18. The parent will sign the contract, and then the application will be completed. So I'm going to go ahead and submit mine. I understand that I must live on campus for my first 2 years.
And it's very important that you complete your application. A lot of times we'll find that students have gotten to the contract page, and for whatever reason, maybe they had some questions they want to talk to their parents about. They don't sign that page, and then they just kind of forget. And so we will do our allocation, and that person will not receive an assignment. And then they call our office, and we can see where they did not sign the application, and then we go down that road and get them an assignment where we have space and so on and so forth. So please make sure that you do complete your application when you are signing it, or when you are filling it out.
Awesome, thank you, Hunter. Can we answer any other specific questions? I see some of them coming in here. Can I still send a message out if I selected random roommate? Yeah, so if you don't create a roommate group, like you don't select anyone in this actual application, then you will be matched with a roommate by the system. Even if you are in a roommate group, yes, you will still be able to message other folks that are in your same FSIM building. I believe that people can check their portal for their FSIMs.
So students who attended Destination UMW on Saturday had already paid their deposit, submitted their first year questionnaire and their housing agreement by Saturday. Your FSIM is in your admissions portal. If you did not take all of those steps, you can join us for the big reveal on April 1st and take those next steps: paying your deposit, completing your questionnaire, filling out your housing and dining agreement application, and you'll get that information on the 1st. Everyone has an admissions portal. Access to it is in the thank you for applying email. If you don't know how to access it, you can also email your personal admissions counselor. And if you don't know who that is, send me a direct message with your full name and I'll look it up for you so you can know who you should be contacting about that. There was also another question in here that I was answering. There was questions about the cars on campus. freshmen cannot have cars on campus unless they're, with one exception, and that's students in the nursing program, because you do have to drive to another campus unless there is an extenuating circumstance. So typically, you will not be able to have your car. Everything is within walking distance. So there's a grocery store with a pharmacy across the street. There's 2 additional CVS's across the street. You've got lots of shops and restaurants in downtown Fredericksburg, and will have access to the Fred bus and can take that with your Eagle One ID card for free to get to Central Park and Target and Walmart and things like that. So there are options, and there are also upperclassmen that'll be happy to give you a ride somewhere once you make some friends.
Absolutely. How reliable is the Fred bus? Extremely reliable, extremely reliable. It goes all around Fred. They have schedules available. Sarah, did you want to jump in?
Yeah, I was just going to say, if you were with us on Saturday and heard Chief Hall in the administration panel, the Fred bus is reliable as long as you know the bus system's schedule. So, you know, if the bus says that it's going to be there at 6:55 and you show up at 7:05 to catch that bus, then you're going to miss that bus, right? So you will need to make sure that you are on time and you know the schedule of where you need to go. But it is reliable. Yes, the Fred bus is free for students with your ID card. So your Eagle One ID card, which will become like your second or third hand, really, because it gets you into your dining hall. It gets you into the dining hall to eat. It gets you into your residence hall. It will always be with you. So that's how you get on the Fred bus for free. All right. Yes, Camille, you can go anywhere outside of UMW. We are not a closed campus. We're an open campus. So you are welcome to kind of go off campus and go downtown if you would like, or you can be out and about on campus as you would like as well. Other questions? Yes, the Fred bus is free. The Fred bus doesn't actually has 1 or 2 stops at UMW. It goes all around Spotsy, Stafford, and City of Fredericksburg.
You cannot search for roommates in a specific FSIM course, but just one more time, you will be able to search for other students that are in your same building, have been assigned to your same building. So Beth, you won't have access to getting to that housing contract unless you have committed. And the first thing you'll get after you commit, Sarah, is the first year questionnaire.
Net ID and password, but then the first year questionnaire. So once you have decided that UMW is the place for you, your next step would be to pay your deposit or to commit to the university. It's a $550 deposit. $300 of that goes towards enrollment. $250 goes over to the housing folks to hold as a deposit for your housing, okay? Once you do that, that kicks off your next steps. Then you will get your UMW net ID and password, so your UMW email address. You'll get the first year questionnaire, and then you'll get the housing and dining application and agreement.
Let's see, who had that question about Paige? What is the housing contract? So we use a couple different words when we're referencing the housing application. So if you look at the screen, you'll see it's called the on-campus housing and dining application. Technically, we call this the housing agreement, but we also call it the housing contract because once you sign this freshman contract page with your UMW banner ID, it does become a binding contract that you will be held to. There is a 48-hour window after you submit if you all of a sudden feel you've made a mistake that you can reach out to us and we'll cancel without penalty if you are not a residential first-year student. But that's why we said contract.
There was a question about the deadline. So I think that might be because it was what I was talking about, the deposit. So we ask that all of the students accept their offer of admission no later than May 1st. However, if you are ready and you are committed to Mary Washington and you know that this is where you want to be, go ahead and submit that enrollment deposit or submit that deposit so that you can start taking these next steps, as students have been since middle of February, to go ahead and to be able to do that. There was one other question for me here about the first year questionnaire. Caroline, you will have an opportunity to sit down with an academic advisor after summer orientation in June to discuss what classes we have helped place you into for your first semester and make any necessary adjustments. The only thing you will not be able to adjust will be that FSEM course. That's the one that's kind of locked in. But other than that, they will talk with you about an ideal amount of courses you should be taking. To be full-time, you do have to take between 12 and 18 credits, which is between 4 and 6 classes at UMW. So that's something to keep in mind, and the advisors will work with you through that. So we have not completely set in stone our summer orientation in June yet, but it is likely to be a hybrid situation where there's both in-person and online components. But more information will come as of April 1st is when we're trying to get that out to you. All right. I think we might have hit all the questions. Thank you, everyone. And I want to be mindful of our Residence Life team's time at 7:01. Thank you for joining us. If you guys have Residence Life questions that weren't answered, Cece, you do want to put the general email in the chat for folks?
Yeah.
So you are welcome to follow up with the team at Residence Life. I hope you enjoyed getting to see an inside look at our residence hall rooms tonight and going through the application. I know this is my first time going through this application in this form. So it's even good for me to see on the admission side of things, just so I know what you guys look at. And we do have 2 other events happening this week. Tomorrow night at 6 p.m. there will be a session for our Office of Disability Resources, and at 7 p.m. there will be a session with financial aid that is understanding your financial aid award letter. And you can register for those on the admitted students page where all of our admitted student events are listed. I hope you guys all have a great night. Thank you so much for attending.